the back end of my time, as we speak now, we're very conscious of the Russian invasion and annexation of Crimea, the crisis in Ukraine, which brings into play a whole lot of new factors. So I sense right now that my time has been really straddling the end of one paradigm, Afghanistan, the Balkans continue, and quite potentially the beginning of another.
What sort of planning is going on at NATO, and how are you sort of monitoring this situation?
In terms of Ukraine, it's thinking, it's monitoring. It's how whatever support that we can give to a valued NATO partner in accordance with the direction we get from the North Atlantic Council in Brussels. But at the same time, of course, as I say, we have contingency plans. Our absolute priority remains defense of the alliance. What we have seen in the last few weeks in Ukraine, in Crimea, has been a direct threat to Euro-Atlantic security. And this is a very timely moment, I think, for the nations of NATO to sit up, to take notice, to recognize that security in Europe is by no means guaranteed, and that security comes at a price in terms of defense budgets, capabilities, and equipment.
How then do you hope that a solution to the problem in Ukraine could be resolved?
Well, that clearly is a matter for politicians, and that's about applying the economic, political, and diplomatic levers of power. From a military perspective, as I say, our task is to ensure the alliance is defended, to send a very strong message to any potential aggressor that we're not prepared to compromise on collective defense, that Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, an attack on one is an attack on all, is the very foundation stone of NATO. And you can see by the way the alliance has responded with certain crisis response options, which are entirely within SACEUR's gift, that the alliance will adopt a strong deterrent posture should anybody decide to mess with alliance security.
How do you think you're going to look back on your time in this role? It's
been an interesting ride, actually. I mean, when I took over, the first day I was in post was the day the North Atlantic Council decided to implement a no-fly zone over Libya. So in a sense, my time here has been bracketed, firstly by a very unusual operation, principally an air and maritime operation to protect the civilian population of Libya, which required extraordinary precision, careful targeting, and a bounded operation that was ultimately successful. If one's been able to push and support the alliance and continue to ensure that it heads in the right direction, and above all, remembering that our task here at the strategic level is to serve the soldiers in the alliance. And I think not a day goes by without us remembering the commitment and activity and endurance and tireless efforts of soldiers on the ground, particularly in Afghanistan. And of course, in the last 3 years, there's been significant sacrifice as well. So we remember those who won't come back and those who've been wounded and whose lives have changed as a result.